You know how they say you're not supposed to have a favorite child, but let's all be honest, there always is a favorite child. Shan Lin is my favorite child. Shan Lin is a Taiwanese oolong. It is, oh God, I mean, I could go on for hours and hours and hours and hours and ramble for days about this tea. It is a Taiwanese oolong. It's typically a high mountain tea. The area in which it grows is very foresty, think waterfalls, and all of that, bits of evergreen, bits of pine, all of that earthiness, that beautiful walk in the woods earthiness is packed into this beautiful green refreshing tea. This one is actually particularly I go for spring productions of this tea. I think it's a little more punchy, it's vibrant, it's got a little, I think, flavor, or steep to steep. The flavors tend to change a little bit more interestingly. But this producer sent me some winter, and I was just enamored by it. And when it came time for spring, I wanted to purchase some spring, and the producer said, we had excessive rains, this may not be the one for you. And when I was totally looking forward to it, it was absolutely soul-crushing. And so I was like, all right. I was like, but let me at least secure what I can of the winter. And at least that way, I know I've tried that. I know I like that. I can just go on and feel complete and have some good Shan Lin to share with you good folks. So this one in particular, not all, but this one very in particular, comes from 1,600 meters. It's hand-picked. Typically nowadays, most things are machine rolled. The producer is big on cleanliness. The producer is big on purity. The producer is really big on the amount of chi in the tea. Not only just how the tea tastes, but the amount of satisfaction you feel is very important to this producer, which is what got us talking and why I started sampling from them. And upon sampling, I really have just become very charmed with these people. And with them, as I mentioned, warning me about the spring production, it's very easy to just have someone place an order and you take the money and just give them the good they asked for. But I think it takes a very certain caliber of producer to say, I know what you're looking for, this may not be it. So to see that they did choose to make a move that was better for the relationship, and in my eyes, that secures... That goes a long way with me. So the fact that they were super honest with me, and I tried the spring, it was really nice, but it was not anywhere near as good as this winter. And honestly, this winter production, so my issue with winter Taiwanese oolongs is that sometimes they can just be a little too smooth. They can be a little too balanced. They're great. They stand up really good to high temperatures, but sometimes I want a little more change steep to steep, or a little more versatility in there. And typically that's what I find with spring. But this winter, I swear, you probably could fool me into thinking that this was a spring production. So needless to say, let's get brewing it. My general parameters for this tea are about between 4 and 5 grams per 100 milliliters. I'm using a 150 milliliter vessel here, so I'm going to use about 6.5 grams of leaf. That's just a little bit over 4 grams. 4 grams with this tea per 100 mil, you will get a phenomenal flavor. I like to add a little extra. Like I said, it's my favorite child. I'm indulging. 90 degrees Celsius. Because this is a winter production, really, if you want to kick up the brewing temperature of this tea, feel more than welcome to. But let's do it. No rinse. I believe there's no rinse necessary. If you are into rinsing your oolongs, please feel free. I'm gonna omit that step and get steeping. Reset my steep counter. Sorry, Sarah. Shout out to Sarah. Ooh. And here we go. I tea in public, and apparently I tea all over the table. teeing is nice. So just about 20 seconds for the first infusion. I like Taiwanese oolongs because you don't have to brew them very long, and because of that ball rolled shape and the way they're produced, they stand up to multiple infusions. So not only do I get to enjoy this tea, I get to enjoy this tea over and over and over again as many times as I want. So let's have some tea. I grew up in, obviously I'm in upstate New York, hence Unytea. There was a waterfall right by where I grew up. It was called Edwards Falls. It was you don't think of New York when you think of waterfalls, but we went to this one growing up. We'd swim in it in the summer, and with around it, you've got the greenery, you've got a little bit of forest, you've got fresh moss growing on trees, you've got the fresh, hydrated minerality in the air from the water crashing down from the waterfall. And as I'm sitting here telling you all this wonderful imagery of a waterfall, I really do think that all of that memory for me, all of the senses the smells and things that I remember from swimming and experiencing the beauty of a waterfall is in this tea. So often, sometimes when I used to teach groups about tea and I'd use this tea to highlight, I'd always just kind of call it the waterfall tea, because a lot of people are familiar with a waterfall, and you think of a waterfall, you think of forest, so I think it makes an easy connection. But cheers, guys. So Shan Lin, like I said, you get this beautiful, very, very fresh moss. You get almost like a creamy earthiness. I get the green notes are sort of like evergreen. I get some pine. It's very refreshing. I like this tea because it can give you a nice second wind in a day. And it's got a fair amount of caffeine, but this isn't a tea typically that I have 1 or 2 steeps of, and I feel like I'm getting the cold sweats. I need to go run a marathon. I think this has got a good kind of evened out energy. So, it's something special when you can sip a tea and it can connect you to something, not only imagery, not only aroma, but flavor. It really can actually take you somewhere else. And this tea, every time I drink it, just continues to bring me back. Typically also, this oolong is made with the Qingchen varietal. I don't think I've ever seen Jinshuan produced in this form, but in the tea world, I'm sure somewhere it is made that way. So this is a tea that I think is great for summer, just to drink, to enjoy. I think it's a good tea in the summer. It's good iced. There's a billion ways to brew this tea. I suggest that you choose one of them. And again, there are lots of other Taiwanese oolongs that I love. There's lots of other different types of teas that I love. But year after year, experience after experience, I'm now, going on kind of 10 years in the Gong Fu game. This tea every year is a tea I continue to look forward to. I continue to take pride in. This tea not only is a tea I like to drink because it tastes good, but it's one of those teas that truly, for me, just strikes down to the core of me. And so I really love to speak passionately about this tea because I really do think it's the bee's knees, and I really do want other people to try it. May not be your cup of tea, but at least I hope that maybe hearing me talk about how much I enjoy it, maybe at least it will help you open you up to the possibility of at least trying it. Hopefully you find a love. If you don't, then hopefully you got some sort of other benefit out of the experience. But this is a tea I wouldn't pass up. I think there's a lot of vendors that offer it. I don't think it's a terribly hard tea to find. But I do suggest you try it out. This has been Quick Sips. I'm Jeff with Unity, and keep drinking good stuff.